Now, live, broadcasting live on StarWorldWideNetworks.com. It's time for The Real Deal. Join the ambassador and special guest hosts as they put together great guests and honest commentary on a range of issues. One of their main topics will be preserving Native American tributes in sports team nicknames. Also avid fans of music and the arts, and they'll always make time for a great song or two. Now, it's time for The Real Deal. Here's your host, the Ambassador.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to The Real Deal. We are at the Star Worldwide Networks in the Camelback Towers in beautiful downtown Scottsdale, Arizona, and we are definitely off the reservation. With me tonight is my producer, Kyle Pratt. Say hello, Kyle.
How's it going, Ambassador?
Oh, the Ambassador's always in. And he's the son of the infamous Dave Pratt. Also with me is my co-host Maggie from Hong Kong. She'll be saying something in a minute. And Kinga Andrea Johns, my other co-host. Say hi, Kinga.
Hi.
Good. I hope everybody's having a good week. We have a special guest in the house tonight, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Trummel Crow. He's been on the show several weeks ago, but he actually took time to fly in here from Dallas, Texas, and he's going to be our special guest tonight, and we're going to be talking about Earth Day. I also want to thank our sponsor, Gray's Propane, with offices in northern Arizona, a family-owned business, John and Susan Graves. They're friends of mine, been friends of mine for many, many years. And please buy your propane from Gray's Propane. They've been serving Native Americans in northern Arizona for a long, long time. My company, Humate International, HUMATE.com. It's a natural organic fertilizer. It also does soil remediation. I testified in front of the U.S. Senate on the BP oil spill with the University of Oklahoma. It's proven. It's vetted. Our biggest customer is the Dole Food Company, and they're the largest grower in the world. We ship it to them all over the world. Our other sponsor, Swisher Air Conditioning. They're a large commercial air conditioning company, and they're friends of mine. They live in Paradise Valley, and they will donate a unit to a low-income Native American family in Arizona. This is a $10,000 deal to a low-income Native American family. Please consider being a sponsor on our show as well. We need sponsors, and Mr. Crow here, or Trummel, needs sponsors for Earth Day.
Sponsors for Earth Day. We all need that. We need to save this planet.
Yep, we sure do. Don't forget to download the new app, right? Yep. And we also got another special guest in the house tonight. The sexy chef Wendy is here. Say hi, Wendy.
Woo, Wendy.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good.
I think I'm going to call you Sexy Chief tonight, if that's okay.
Yeah, you can call me Sexy Chief.
He's definitely sexy, but you are the sexiest, Wendy.
Yeah, you're the sexiest one, but I'll be number 2.
And you'll be cooking on our show in a couple weeks.
Yeah,
so
we're actually going to be
live.
We're going to be going to Beverly Hills, and she come in from Beverly Hills, and we're going to be doing a show in Beverly Hills. And her cooking kitchen, I guess, your studio, whatever you call it.
We're going to heat it up.
We're going to heat it up.
Wear lingerie and cook
I was going to warn
sexy
you.
Dishes.
Clothing is optional.
No, that's right.
Kitchen. I've heard that about you, too. We have that in common.
Yeah, on this show and her show, clothing is definitely optional. I want to thank our listeners all over the country, Native Americans and all Americans. I want to thank our listeners all over the country that are under fire right now as we speak, these schools. And I think I said this, Trommel, to you when we talked and when you were in Dallas 2 or 3 weeks ago. These name changers, these political correctness guys, they went to the teams, the pro teams, like the Kansas City Chiefs, and they went to the Washington Redskins, and Kansas City Chiefs, Redskins, Cleveland Indians, Golden State Warriors, Atlanta Braves, and they said, you need to change those names. They're racist. They're offensive. And as I told you, we have schools north of here, 300 miles north of here on the Navajo Indian Reservation with those names, and all the kids are Native Americans go to these schools.
And you said they were proud of the name.
They are proud of the names, yeah. And so Dan Snyder, we call him the gatekeeper, the owner of the Washington Redskins, and he told them to go to hell. He says, we ain't changing the name.
For him.
You can go jump in a lake. We ain't changing the name for you or anybody else. And that was that. So now what they do, is they go after all the schools all over the country that have names that honor Native Americans. They actually do. This is true.
Well, do they get by with it?
Yeah, but until they found out about this show, and then the Washington Post did a poll. Washington Post did a poll a month ago, and it was published all over the country. And they went out. The Washington Post sent reporters out to every state in the United States, including Alaska, and talking to Native Americans, exclusively to Native Americans, asking Native Americans if the names like the Washington Redskins and the Chiefs and them were offensive to them. 9 out of 10, that's 90%, come back and said, no, they're not offensive. We like those names.
These are the students.
They're just Indians, American Indians.
All the Native Americans are against it.
Not just students. I mean, people of all ages, from Montana to Florida. And they said, no, we like those names. So it just goes to show that these political correctness idiots are self-serving. They're in it for themselves. They don't give a damn about Native Americans. And it's like I said on this show. I said, if we're not offended by the names that honor Native Americans, then why the hell should you be? That's what I tell them. And sometimes I bring a bat in here, but I forgot it tonight. Maggie may be leaving home.
We all might need bodyguards after all this.
I brought mine.
Yeah. But
yes, you did.
I want to thank our listeners here locally at Channel 3, Channel 5, Channel 15. Please listen to their channels as well. And Kinga, I want you to introduce our other guests here.
Yes, we have two wonderful guests. We're very excited about Carl Oberg and Bruce Brimacombe. Say hello.
Hello.
Hello. And they're going to be talking about who they are and what they do. Actually, he's been on before.
Yes, they're both also involved with saving the planet.
Right, and Bruce was on when we did the show out of Dallas with you, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I also want to thank the American Indian Center of the Great Plains in Kansas City, Missouri. In fact, Johnny Lerner, he's going to be coming down to Earth Day. He wants to meet you. He's a Cheyenne Arapaho, and he wants to come down and talk. He's very well thought of in the Great Plains. His mother was a chief, and he's good.
What's his name?
Johnny Lerner, and he's him and I are the principals of the American Indian Center of the Great Plains in Kansas City, Missouri.
Well, you should get him to go to that Earth event that's in Aspen called Our Day, which everyone should go to because it's another thing.
Jessica and him are best buds. So,
yes, and Jessica's going to go.
Right. So now I want to say something in Navajo to my Navajo brothers and sisters. Yate shedane, Husteen, Dennis Yellow Horse and she, Hadish Banana, Aquetzala, Navajo Nation, and now I'm going to have Navajo Code Talker, one of the most famous Native Americans in the country, Mr. Peter McDonald's going to address you in Navajo.
Yate shas toy sezane setelke shje the neshike no kliniki o shidi Peter McDonald dashne aska zahon slobet ani bashchin ado tsakane dashnale ashi dashche todich ini eba esetta shada halya kododi anini eba hanne no kodoy ambassador Dennis Yellowhorse niji yaltijo yolwol akoda nini be edeba hanne the real deal wol yo jo koe hashine la ne says yes yadal lahoda ba lahab lahadal no die do kot eda ebni na hada kisigi kodo the real deal no yahal neki da nini jo edeba honne Ako ikena slagi sto banda yochni to banda notra Graves Company will love la shibe da no Sunday da jo kodo kwishi without di ikena slau kodo da kwichi na long kodo hiji yati.
Thank you, Peter. And if anybody here in this studio can understand Navajo besides myself, do not associate with those terrorists. Because this guy was a Navajo code talker. They helped win World War II. The Navajos, I don't know if you knew this, but they recruited these young Navajos, Trummel, and because the Japanese was breaking all our codes. They broke every code we had. So they took this guy here and a bunch of young Navajo kids, and some missionary that was out on the reservation went and told the Marine Corps and said, if you want a code that the Japanese can't break, get these Navajos. So they took them all out to Camp Pendleton, and this was in California, and they were 18 years old, right in World War II, and they said, we want to develop a code with your language. And he said, the commandant of the Marine Corps in Washington, D.C. said, recruit them and make sure they want to fight for our country, but don't tell them what we're going to do until we get them out there. So they got them out there, and they were all young kids. They were 18 years old.
Well, a lot of people fight at 18 years old.
Yeah. And so they said, we want to use, they got them all together, put them in a separate building, and they said, we want to develop a code using your language. And they all said, okay, let's do it. So what they did, because the Navajo language wasn't written, so they took our alphabet, and they took the first letter of our alphabet is A. So they said, what's going to be the word for A? So it was the Navajo word for apple. And they said, well, what are we going to use for the letter B? And it was the Navajo word for bear, shush. That's the Navajo word for bear. And then what's the letter C? And they said, well, we'll use the Navajo word for cat, which is mussy. And on and on and on. And that's what they did. And
but I don't see how they put together. So if you're going to say the word cat in Navajo, which is C-A-T.
No, it's mussy in Navajo.
Okay.
Must-see.
I don't get it.
Well, yeah.
That's the problems the Germans had.
Yeah, that's good you don't get it because nobody got it.
That's right, Bruce.
They were able to win the war.
They didn't get it either.
Doesn't
But
Mussy
the language
start with
the language had never been put into script before.
No. So then they stationed Navajos all over the world, and they'd talk in Navajo, and they'd say
On the walkie-talkie.
right, and they'd say we need battleships, we need ground support, we need aircraft, we need ammunition, we need whatever we need, and they would relay it, and the Japanese couldn't figure out how the hell.
But
to
why
break
couldn't
it.
they figure it out? If it were French, they would have known. If it were Japanese,
Yeah,
if it was Italian, they would have known.
That's a good question.
Is it Navajo that?
No, what the basic thing was, Colonel, is that they did a substitution of different animals and different ways of thinking. So they weren't actually substituting
They weren't speaking
letters.
the language.
They weren't speaking the language.
Okay.
And they weren't speaking with letters. They were speaking with things.
with a code?
With a code and things. And like you said, they went down the alphabet and they added pieces. It was phenomenal. I had the honor of sitting next to him when they were dedicating the new battleship about 2 years. 3
Really?
years ago.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic.
Oh, the gentleman.
Yeah, we did. This guy's my Navajo grandfather. When he comes here, he's 89 years old. When he comes here to Scottsdale, or in Paradise Valley, he stays with me, and I've known him for many years. He was related to my wife, and I told him he said I'm cold. He says I want to come here. It's wintertime up north. He says I want to come here and stay for a couple of weeks. I said yeah, come on down. So he had a driver bring him down. So he checked into the house and he stayed for 2 weeks. And we did 4 back-to-back shows, didn't we, Kyle? Kyle was totally impressed. Everybody was. I mean, this guy's wrote a book. I mean, he's done all sorts of stuff, and he travels around on speaking engagements. He's spoken in front of the New York Stock Exchange. And he'd be a good one for Earth Day. Yeah,
and Trammell has to meet him. He should
Trammell's
definitely be a speaker at Earth Day.
This guy's a living legend.
We'll have him there.
He's a living legend, and so.
Would you like that?
Yeah,
I would love it.
Yeah, and so
we'll get him there.
So he comes down and he talks about these stories, and what was interesting was, if you remember, Kyle, he said that the Japanese couldn't figure out what the language was. So then they figured out what was a Native American language. So they searched all their prisons to see if there was a Navajo
In the prisoner of war camp.
And they found one, but he was in the Army. He was not in the Marines. So they took this guy to Tokyo, and they questioned this Navajo and said, what are they saying? And he says, it makes no sense. Well, they're saying bear, cat, sheep, potato. I don't know what the hell they're saying because he didn't know the code.
But they never figured it out from that either.
No. And so they beat the hell out of this guy, trying to say they thought he was lying. He said,
there's a movie about it. Well, what's the name of the movie?
Windtalkers.
With
Nicolas Cage.
We'll
it's
have to watch
Windtalkers.
it.
So it's a recent movie.
Well, no, it's been out for quite a while.
Maybe 10 years.
For me, that's recent.
Almost, it's 2004. 12 years.
Yeah, 12 years. And it's a good movie, but it really doesn't portray it, but it's close, But Peter, if you listen to our shows, go to the archive shows that say Peter McDonald, and there's 4 of them right back to back, and you can hear the whole deal. And boy, I tell you, our ratings went through the roof with that one. Now I want to introduce another friend of mine, Mark Burr. He's my business associate with Jay Stryker, and they're out of New York and Washington, D.C., and Mark and I do a lot of things with them. But he speaks fluent Spanish, and he's been all over the world. and he come into the show several times, and he did a piece in Spanish because some of our Native American listeners, ladies and gentlemen, they do not speak their own language. They lost their language. Their language of choice is Spanish, especially like the tribes here in the Southwest, Pasquayaki and those folks. They speak Spanish, so he addresses them, and in California too. So he's going to address all the tribes that speak Spanish instead of their own language. Mark, please.
Claro que sí, don Dennis. Nuevamente, bienvenidos a nuestra audiencia de hispanoparlantes y a todos nuestros patrocinadores, Graves Propane de Flagstaff y YouMade Internacional de Gallup, Nuevo México, y a todos los radio oyentes a través de la nación y del Real Deal y nuestro anfitrión, el embajador.
Gracias, Mark. Gracias. Now we're going to have Maggie, who's from Hong Kong. She's a very famous fashion and jewelry designer, and actually her jewelry now is in Kansas City at Jessica's gallery. So you can find her jewelry in Kansas City and at different galleries that Jessica owns. And she's going to say something to all our Chinese listeners because the Earth Day event and some of the stuff with pollution that's affecting the Chinese people is way worse than what we got going.
Thanks, Chief. 其实这个节目是说美国的印第安人的历史文化。美国印第安人是由中国来的，也是第一批人居住在美国。Washington Post 访问所有美国的印第安人，他们都喜欢 Washington Redskins 这个名字，但是有的人想改变这个名字。前提是王满先生为了保护这个名字和印第安人的历史文化，他本人做出了好大的贡献。我们热切期待你的参与和支持。前提是王满先生还有出售有机涂颜叫优美，如果有需要打我美国电话。今天还有John McClough。在我们这个节目里，他是一个好伟大的人。他每年都做出这个off day，所以呢，美国才有这么清新的空气。So thanks so much, Chief, for having me on Real Deal. That's such my honor.
Thank you. Yeah, that's great. We're bilingual here, unless you can tell. Trilingual.
Quadrilingual.
Please speak another language. Do you know Hungarian or Polish?
Not well enough.
No, Maggie was telling me, she tells me a lot about China, and we're going to go there. But when we're talking about Earth Day, in Beijing, and she lived in Hong Kong, but she travels all over the place over there. And in Beijing, it is so polluted that she said you have to wear a mask because the air is so bad. And I did not know that.
But we're going to solve that right here with Trammell and Earth Day and getting everybody involved to change the world.
Well, this is a start, but you think we got problems. Jesus, they really got problems. I mean, that's serious stuff. Okay, I think what we're going to do is, I want to thank all the fans. Thank all the fans that listen to us. Kansas City Chiefs, Washington Redskins, Golden State Warriors, Atlanta Braves, Cleveland Indians, Chicago Blackhawks, for listening and honoring Native Americans by using the name. Star Worldwide Networks, ladies and gentlemen, is the largest, fastest growing internet radio station in the country. 200 shows, 6 million listeners. Kyle, tell our listeners who's number one down here.
That would be the Real Deal.
You damn right. You better believe it. And I'll tell you, I started this show, and I told everybody that I was taking the gloves off on these name changers for trying to change these names.
Well, what's the present situation? Is it in court or?
No, it's not in. Well, for the Washington Redskins, it is, but for everybody else, it's just out in the public domain. And then you have the media; they play the race card, and they're saying, "Oh, this is a racist story." These names are racist because we talked to this fake Indian who they think is an Indian, and he said it was racist, and so they buy into it. It's political correctness, just what's going on in this country, and that's what everybody says ruining our country is political correctness. And I watched the news, about 50 people were killed, and they said that this guy was questioned. He was a Muslim terrorist, Islamic radical terrorist. And they questioned him, and they didn't do anything because of political correctness.
Oh, they had caught him for something at some time and taken him in?
No, they questioned him because his name was on a list. He flew to Saudi Arabia twice, and And so the FBI questioned him, but that's as far as it went.
They were alerted by him, and they didn't follow it.
They didn't follow through, and they didn't do anything.
He was on the FBI list.
Right.
Yes, right.
And so they're saying, well, it's because the Justice Department is saying, hey, you got to go easy on Muslims because we don't want to offend them. We don't want to look like we're harassing them. We don't want to investigate mosques where a lot of this stuff starts.
And on top of that, he was given a registered gun permit and went through a securities clearance to be a security guard able to carry guns.
Right.
So average American can't do that?
No.
That's questionable.
That's absolutely questionable. It's irresponsible, for somebody to do that. And so, this kind of stuff is going to go on. And I usually don't go into this type of thing on the show because we got a lot of other things to do. But since
we try to keep it positive.
Yeah, we try to keep it positive.
Problems.
But I'm going to tell you right now, these people have their ideology is if you're not one of them, you need to die. You're not if you're a Christian or you're a non-Muslim, and I've read the Quran. And there's parts of the Quran that says really good things, and there's parts of the Quran, and correct me if I'm wrong, Bruce, it says really bad things.
It's chronologically given. There's a date and time that it shifted, but it's mixed up in there, so there's no way to track it. But there's a time and date that happened.
Absolutely. And I read the Quran because I wanted to know. I wanted to learn. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short break, and then we're going to come back and talk to Mr. Trummel Crow about Earth Day.
There's a great American hero we all look up to. When the times are hard and chips are down, he knows just what to do. Now a cowboy's got a set of rules that he lives by day to day. And if you ask for his advice, he'll more than likely say, if it's a fence, mend it. If it's $1 bill, spend it. Or it burns a hole down in them jeans. If it's a load, truck it. If it's a punch, duck it. If she's a lady, treat her like a queen. That's cowboy logic. Every cowboy's got it. It's in the way he lives his life and the songs he sings. That's cowboy logic. Every cowboy's got it. He's got a simple solution for just about anything. If it's a job, do it. Put your back into it. 'Cause a little bit of dirt's gonna wash off them drains. If it's a horse, ride it. If it hurts, hide it. Dust yourself off and get back on again. That's cowboy logic. Every cowboy's got it. It's in the way he lives his life and the songs he sings. That's cowboy logic. Every cowboy's got it. He's got a simple solution for just about anything. An old cowboy and a young buckaroo were working, riding fence. The old hand was testing the kid on his skills and his common sense. He said, son, if you've seen 3 men in a pickup dressed alike from boots to hat, could you tell which one was the real cowboy just from where he sat? Well, the kid scratched his head a while and then he said, well, there just ain't no way to know. The old hand grinned and then he said, kid, you still got a ways to go. The real cowboy's the one in the middle. He ain't there just by fate. 'Cause first, he don't have to drive, and then he don't have to mess with the gate. That's cowboy logic. Every cowboy's got it. It's in the way he lives his life and the songs he sings. That's cowboy logic. Every cowboy's got it. He's got a got a simple solution, just about anything. He's got a simple solution, just about anything.
Okay, we're back. That was a mutual friend of Trummel and I. That was Michael Martin Murphey. And you know Michael. You said you bought his first album.
I remember buying his first album, like, 68?
Yeah.
70.
Yeah.
We didn't call it country western music back then.
Right.
To us, it was psychedelic.
You know how I got to know him is he lived in Taos, New Mexico, and he did a lot of events that Jane Yellowhorse was involved in, my wife, and it was called Cowboys and Indians, and he put on these big festivals all over the country. The main one was at Copper Mountain, which is a ski resort near Vail, about 15 miles from Vail, and that's where he put it on, a big, huge event. And then he took it all over the country, and Jane went with him, and I'd go help her. We went to Indianapolis. It went to Minneapolis. It went to Dallas. It went to Houston. It went all over Kansas City. It went all over the place. And we become really good friends. And I can remember one about 15 years ago, maybe more, he did a show. He was so talented, Kinga. He did a show with the Phoenix Symphony down here in Phoenix. He went down and performed with the Phoenix Symphony, and I thought, how in the hell is this going to work? You know, a cowboy singer singing Western music with the Phoenix Symphony. And he got up there with the Phoenix Symphony, and it just blew everybody away. And we were on the front row, and he said, I want to dedicate this song to Jane Yellowhorse. Yeah.
Wow.
And she was all dressed up in her attire in, Navajo princess and her buckskins and stuff, and she stood up, and everybody clapped and waved. And
beautiful lady.
Yeah, and he sang that song Wildfire. That was one of his famous songs, was Wildfire. But he was a hell of a nice guy. I look forward to seeing him because I hadn't seen him in a long time since he moved to Texas, and he got divorced and he moved to Texas. So I hadn't seen him in a while, but we used to go see him in Vegas. He'd play at one of the casino hotels up there, and then we'd go see him, and then we'd always see the late show, his last show, and then after the show we'd go to his dressing room and have a couple of toddies and and a really good time. Well, Trummel, I can't thank you enough for coming all the way from Dallas, Texas, to be on The Real Deal.
Thanks.
And we're all about Earth Day, and we want to support you with Earth Day. And we're going to give you this show, and
we want to hear everything you have to say to get the whole world to come.
Tell us more than an hour.
Yeah, well, tell us again how you got started and why you did it. And I got some stuff here that I printed out that was in the Dallas Morning News, but you said don't believe it all because you can't.
Well, if it's in the paper, you wouldn't believe it all, would you? It was 6 years ago. I had finished an environmental project, and I was trying to think of what to do next. And it just came to me to do an Earth Day because it brings everybody together. It brings different groups together. And I believe in synergy, 1 + 1 = 3.
Right.
Lord knows in Texas we need to be exposed to environmental things. So many of us don't know what to do. We think that it's just an overwhelming problem. So if you don't know where to start, you just don't get started. So we invited the environmental groups to come together and show all the different things that are going on. I mean, there's so many different ways to contribute, and it just took off. It was the largest green expo in the world on the first year, and that really shamed me because I thought surely there are other things happening in London or New York or San Francisco or all these liberal places, and there weren't. It kind of took the salt of the earth to do it, and next year we hope to really highlight that with farmers and ranchers with sustainable ranching.
Right.
They're some of the best conservationists in the world.
Sure. Yeah. Well, that's one of the things we got to do is I want to introduce your people to my Humate because it's an organic fertilizer. It's certified organic, and it works. Or people like Dole wouldn't be buying it.
Well, we need you to exhibit at Earth Day next year.
We will.
And it's a very cheap rental rate for an exhibit, I promise you. And to speak before our garden clubs, and our 4-H and our FFA.
No, I intend to do that, and I want to bring my partner, Johnny Lerner, from the American Indian Center of the Great Plains, and Jessica. and we'll all come down.
Jessica Thomas that wants to meet you, and she wants to help with your Earth.
And so they'll be there, and then we'll be able to talk. And I think this gentleman here may even come.
Oh, I was at Earth Day this last time, Trammell, and it's amazing. Highly recommend people go to the next Earth Day in Dallas.
Give us the dates again.
Earth Day is always April 22.
Right.
Earth Day is on the solar calendar. Earth Day is like Christmas. It doesn't change.
That's right.
But the events tend to happen on the weekend closest to it, or weekend around it. So we are the 22nd and the 22nd and 23rd. That's Saturday and Sunday. But we've turned it into a 4-day event because we've had so much going on. So we're the 20th to the 23rd.
This will be my 4th year going. This is Bruce, by the way, guys. And I can tell you that I can't tell you how watching all this stuff growing has been so amazing to me. And it is organic, and I don't use that word lightly. It is grown from the salt of the earth, and it's time that everybody works together, and this becomes the movement that he has worked so hard to build, and it is a movement now.
Right.
And if we organize this across the country, everything's going to just kick butt and change this world.
I've heard a couple of guys say, well, let's do this in Arizona. And I want to stop that way of thinking. I don't care where this event goes,
exactly.
But let's keep one big event.
Agreed.
Let's not have 20 little Earth Days around.
No, one big event. Yes.
I want to get yours bigger and bigger. That's the way to go.
Well, and besides, everybody in Texas does it big, so let's keep it there.
I'd like to concur. I'm Sexy Chef. I've attended Trammell's Earth Day.
That's right.
This will be my 3rd year. It is absolutely extraordinary, and the thing that I love about it is the synergy of people, and the people that I have met through your event are amazing. I saw you there, right?
You're right.
All of you were there.
Yeah.
This whole crew, half of us were there, and it has grown exponentially since last year. Just tremendous, beautiful experience, honestly.
Hey, Trammell, how many people were there this last year?
The year before we had 29,000, and this year it went from 29,000 to 131,000. We did not know what to do.
A little tornado got in the way last year, though. Just a little bitty tornado.
We had a tornado alert last year.
I remember that.
Yeah.
That was wild.
Your sauces, sexy or organic?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, they're hot.
I need to use some of your mineral product to grow some of my carrots and.
Yeah, no, I told you I'll hook you up.
Let me see
you got to see it.
There's her sauce.
It's all organic, natural.
And she'll come to your house and cook in her lingerie. And
that's
right.
New
definition to a new meaning to the word hot.
That's right.
It's definitely hot. She's a hot.
That's why they call her the sexy chef.
And some like it hot, right?
Some like it. She likes it hot.
Oh, Charlie Solomon says hello from Dallas.
Oh, great. Hey, Charlie. Yeah, I want to invite everybody in this room. We're going to do a show in a few weeks.
Yeah, in Beverly Hills.
My kitchen.
Beverly Hills.
Everyone here is invited.
Everyone's invited, but what's optional, you said?
Clothing is optional.
Kyle, you better be there.
Come with an open mind. Come with an open mind and open heart.
That's right.
Only organic products. Let's go green.
Yep. No, that's good.
Did you say organic?
Yes.
Oh, this is organic.
Yes.
Yes, she's making
It's
the
only
real.
Natural. There's
she's the real deal too.
Key lime juice is what preserves my hot sauce. There's no preservatives in there.
That's awesome. Yeah. I like the labeling too.
So Trammell, can you tell us more about your Earth event and why people want to come there and what they need to do and how they can sponsor you? And
yeah, he needs sponsors like the Real Deal does.
Admittedly, we do. This is a big show now, and we had almost 900 organizations having their own displays each. We give a lot of the booths away to public schools. We give booths away to trade associations, and some of the farmers pay like $50 or something to get in. And so we really wind up giving a lot of it away. Admission is totally free. There are no charges whatsoever.
Why? Why don't you charge?
Well, I don't know.
Because he's like me. He's a good guy.
It just seems like you shouldn't on Earth Day. It's about saving the Earth, and why should people have to pay? And it's the general public that comes in. Finally, we've started having business guys come in who could probably afford some modicum of a ticket. We haven't had any big name rock and roll bands, so we haven't had to bear that expense. But it's a few $1 million, and we've just never really gone after corporations or individuals for grants, and finally we need to. So
if you need
thank
that,
you for bringing that up.
We will do that for you. How much do you need to raise?
Well, $5 million is what we spend, and we're not that ambitious this year. If we can raise a couple of $1 million from, major corporations, it'd be great. Or centillionaires, like my son says. He says, "No, Dad. If they're between $100 million and $1 billion, they're centillionaires." And so we need those centillionaires from Texas.
Okay, well, we'll help you with that. We'll help you and have you as a regular on our show because we want to save the planet and save the names and save the planet.
Right. And
that's what we're about.
And our whole deal is to give back to the community just like yours is. And we want to save the names and save the planet, but we also want to keep the show going too.
Well, let me ask you this. Why is there so much environmental energy here? We think that we're going to have a huge environmental pavilion, of an Arizonan pavilion at our exhibit.
You will.
And why is that here in Arizona? I would have thought it'd be in San Francisco or Aspen.
The funny thing is, and I do electric car charging stations over the expressway. This is the gateway to free up the country. 3 of the 4 major east-west expressways come through Arizona. We have the most beautiful sunrises. The sun is everywhere. We have interest in living the right way here. It's nature. And it's
I hike every day, and I would agree with that. The sunsets, and I hiked last night watching the sunset, and this is a beautiful state, and we have it all here.
Well, Texas has got so much of everything. And
I wasn't saying Texas is beautiful.
No. I didn't. But there's so much. There's so much opportunity here for people to, and you have to live on your own here. Even if Phoenix is not that old of a city. These are a bunch of adventurers that have always lived on their own. And you mentioned something earlier about the ranchers. I find it funny that the noise from the extreme environmentalists tend to say that nobody but them are green. Ranchers and farmers are the most, they care about the earth. They care about it more than anything I've ever seen. In Native America, same thing.
Yeah.
You can't say that they are bad people. They love the planet.
Well, let me tell you what. I mean, they feed us.
Yes.
At first in Dallas, they didn't think that they were welcome to come to our event. We had to really reach out to people like Quail Unlimited and Ducks Unlimited and these groups. Wow. Because they didn't think they were welcome to Earth. They thought Earth Day was some leftist thing.
Yeah.
I think we brought it back down to Earth.
That's one of the things. If I can communicate one thing about the Earth Day event, it's inclusive. It's not exclusive. And that's what I like so much about it. You will see everybody with the right heart, even from industries that not necessarily are the best, but they're trying. And he gives them a platform through the Earth Day event in Texas to do it. And the fact that it is coming from Texas should teach us all.
Right. Okay, we're going to take a short break here. But I want to all these people that listen to my show, they want to know about why do these people want to change the names. And I tell them, I said, you know what their problem is?
You can't handle the truth.
Hey, baby, get my son. Thought I was your only bucko. Hey, baby, get my soul. Won't you give me un beso? Come on, baby, turn around. Let me see your pretty blue eyes. Don't you know that I love you? And my cortisone is real. Hey, baby, get my soul. Thought I was your only bucko. Hey, baby, get my soul. Won't you give me un beso? get my soul? Won't you give me un beso? Come on, baby, turn around. Let me show you how I feel. Don't you know that I love you? And my call is so near. Hey, baby, get my soul. Thought I was your only vato. Hey, baby, get my soul. Won't you give me un beso? Y'all sing it one time. That's good, Bucko. But you ain't got a microphone, so you got to do it a little louder. Try it one more time, louder. Won't you give me un beso? Won't you give me un beso?
All right. I told you we were going to play some Texas music tonight, and that was Freddie Fender and the Texas Tornadoes. Did you ever meet Freddie Fender?
No, I never, but I had a Fender.
You know, I got to know him, and he's dead now, but about 10 years ago, he was doing a show. He was coming through Scottsdale, and there was a little deal in the paper. Freddie Fender will be tonight at the Cajun House. You guys remember where the Cajun House was right over here? Yeah. And it was like, you know, it was just a last-minute gig, $20 to get in or something. So I called all my friends, and I said, Jesus, I said, Freddie Fender's going to be over here at the Cajun House tonight. And they said, really? And I said, yeah, Jane read it in the paper. So we all went over there, and there wasn't that many people there because nobody knew about it, you know. It wasn't advertised. He was just passing through trying to get a gig. And so we paid $20, and we went in there, and I said, I went right down front. And we sat right down front, and we heard Freddie Fender sing that song and Wasted Days and Wasted Nights and all his songs. It was a hell of a show, actually. Okay, I want you to tell us how you and Trummel met with your engineering firm at Earth Day.
Yeah. Hey, first of all, Ambassador, it's good to be back.
Thank you.
Carl Oberg here, Carl, the one and only Carl Oberg.
So one of the things that you mentioned, Trammell, is about Arizona and environmental. Arizona is like one of the hot spots for solar energy, the green sustainable energy. I mean, this is an amazing location. So my company, Rittok Powell and Associates, we started. We're Arizona born and bred, but we're doing stuff all over the world. And some of your people had reached out to us about the possibility of going to Earth Day. And
that's because we saw your name in the paper so often. No, seriously. You was always there doing new sustainable projects in the Dallas area.
Oh, yeah, awesome. So, and thank you. You invited us and my whole crew over and talked about it.
Trammell actually mentioned your company to me the first time that I actually spoke to him.
At the show.
Nice.
At the show. He did. That's why I wanted to talk to you so much, because he said your company was amazing.
Well, and I appreciate that. We've been doing so much sustainable green energy projects. We're working them all over the world. In Africa for the Power Africa initiative by Obama's administration. And we had the opportunity to meet a lot of your folks and stuff. And what an amazing event. So when we got to go to Dallas, we weren't expecting what we saw.
Yeah, what were you expecting?
We were expecting maybe 2,500 people. And when we got there and we went to the hotel you invited us to, and it was just packed full of people for Earth Day.
We loved your hotel, by the way.
Yeah,
thank you.
Nice.
What's it called?
The Anatole.
Anatole.
Yes. And it was just amazing how many people were there. And then when we showed up at Earth Day at the fairgrounds, I think all of us about dropped our jaw because we weren't expecting that. It was amazing. So,
well, you didn't believe us when we told you.
Right.
No, it was amazing. So thank you very much.
I think I told you the last time when I submitted a paper on the BP oil spill, in 2010 because I teamed up with the University of Oklahoma, and we did this years prior. They got a grant from the EPA to remediate oil spills with my product organically. And Humate. And so I teamed up with them, and we did it. We did it down in Texas, and we did it in Oklahoma, and we did it organically, and they published papers, and they did all the scientific data, Dr. Mark Nanny, and it worked. So when the BP oil spill hit, I called him up, and I says, let's submit a proposal up to Washington on how we can deal with this oil spill when it comes on shore, because our stuff works on land, not out in the ocean. And they said, yeah, that's a great idea. So we did. And we called it the Organic Solution. And there was 300,000 proposals submitted up to D.C. on the BP oil spill. And there was 2 of us called to testify, myself and Kevin Costner. Oh. And so a U.S. Marshal showed up at my house, served me with the invitation and papers saying, you got to be there next Wednesday or whatever it was. So Jane and I flew up there, and we had Dr. Nanny and some people, other people there, and I testified in front of the U.S. Senate, and there were some people in the audience with Earth Day. And so they gave me an award. They gave me an award at the United Nations and with Kevin Costner and some other folks on who were the best people in that year that did something to really help solve some serious problems without making more problems. And so I got an award for that.
Well, the listeners might not know too much about Humate. Are there residential purposes?
Residential.
We use it for my home.
Yeah, you can use it at your home. I'll get you some.
What would I do?
Just put it down. Give it. Like
we'll get it for you.
Yeah,
no problem.
What do you use it for?
For grass, for your trees,
farming,
for your flowers,
trees, plants, everything.
Spray it on the grass.
Yeah.
For what?
Okay. What it does is puts the minerals back into the soil.
Everything grows better.
Yeah. So, like the guy at your hotel that takes care of your grounds, all I got to do is get his name and number, and then I'll tell him, this is how you do it, this is how you use it, and get it to him, and then he'll tell you.
It makes everything grow bigger and better, like Dallas.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it's just like Texas, bigger and better. But no, what it does is your soils, because of chemicals, become depleted. So if you're using Miracle Grow and all this other stuff, they become depleted after time. Or pretty soon you got to put more chemicals on, more chemicals. And that's what's happening around the country with conventional agriculture. So the soils have no minerals in them. And that's why you go buy a tomato at Safeway, and, man, that's a pretty tomato. Mm-hmm. And then you go eat it, and there's no taste. It tastes like cardboard because there's no nutrients into the soil. And so what my stuff does is it puts all the nutrients back into the soil. And how I know that is because I have certified lab analysis that tell you exactly what's in it. We don't guess. We know exactly what's in it. We got iron, we got calcium, we got selenium. All of that's in there because we have lab reports from agricultural labs that say, that's what it is. Here's what's in it.
It's a combination of herbs?
Yeah, a combination
minerals,
of minerals. Trace minerals.
Oh, okay.
We'll get you a lot of it.
Yeah.
Nice big vegetables with this.
Yeah.
Great
we'll give you a bunch of it,
my organic garden.
Absolutely. It'll work on anything. It works on trees, flowers, shrubs. All
Tremel, I think he needs
potatoes.
To have a booth. Does he need a booth at your Earth event?
Right. No. I'll
He'll be at the booth.
Pavilion.
He'll be at Earth event.
Whole pavilion. No, seriously, it really works, and it's as green gets, man. I'm telling you, it's the real deal. It's green deal. The Washington Redskins use it on their football field. Yeah, they've actually tried some, and they were happy with it.
So how do people get a hold of us?
HUMATE.com.
Okay.
602-540-3000. Our website is info@humate.com. It's under construction, but info@humate.com, and it comes directly to me, or you can call me and we can and do some business together. But let me tell you, the largest grower in the world is Dole, DOLE, the pineapple people, and they are. You can look it up. And they're the largest grower in the world. They use it exclusively on everything. So when you go to a supermarket and it says Dole on those bananas, my stuff was used to grow those bananas. And not exclusively, because they mix it with other stuff, but it's used to grow those bananas or pineapples or flowers or mangoes, coffee, strawberries, lettuce. They do it all, man. But unfortunately, they don't grow in Mexico. I wish they did, because Mexico's a hot
Everyone's got to get this product so you can grow big veggies that are healthy.
And I produce it, so you can buy it, you can resell it, you can repackage it, you can rebrand it, you can put sexy
women on it.
Yeah, sexy chef
put sexy
vegetables.
Sexy chef vegetables.
I think we should have a Earth Day Texas organic garden.
Absolutely.
With your product.
Definitely.
Yep.
Let's grow some big, healthy vegetables.
Right. No.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I mean, there's a ton of things that we can all do. We just got to work as a team, put some stuff together, and it makes sense for everybody, and then we'll just go forward with that.
So, Trammell, how do people get a hold of you or a hold of Earth Event so that they can have a pavilion?
I would say here in Arizona.
Or a booth.
I would say here in Arizona, they ought to talk to Colleen. Colleen Crown and Shield. Is
she still here?
She's in Tucson, and she's sitting around here.
No, she's already gone. She's already gone to get the dinners taken care of.
But this is a worldwide network, so if people want to come to your Earth Event and they're not in Arizona, how do they come to you?
The email, it'd be earthdaytx.org. It'd be Jerry at earthdaytx.org.
He's going to kill you.
Can you repeat that one more time? What is it?
It'd be Ryan at earthdaytx.org.
They're both
These people from all over the world might want to come and bring a booth there, and they need to know how.
Steve at earthdaytx.org.
Steve Evans?
Well, Steven at earthdaytx.org.
Oh my God. So basically any name at earthdaytexas.org.
We got a Steve, and we got a Steven.
So get a hold of Earth Day Texas.
Just not Trammell at Earth Day.
Forget my name.
We're not going to give you his number.
That's right.
I'm sorry, is that 2 M's? 2 L's?
So, Bruce, can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing with your
GOE 3 is the essence of traveling across the country again. We've got a system set up to where we can put electric car charging stations in almost every major location along the expressways. That means we can travel the country in the best vehicle for this environment and for the country and for what we're going to be doing in the future. The most conservative is saying by 2030 we're going to be at 100% electric cars. That's a blink. That's 14 years, but that's a blink in this country's history.
Right.
We are going to change the country one person at a time. Tesla just sold 500,000 prepaid $1,000 deposits.
My neighbor bought a Tesla.
Yeah. So the cars are here. The technology's here. It's time we just stop being changed.
And when is this all going to come to fruition? What's happening?
We've already actually tested between Tucson and Phoenix. We're going to be deploying across the United States over the next year, and we've got travel apps and everything that go along with it. This is all about making travel fun again.
Good.
Are you needing sponsors?
Oh, of course. We're part of the Arizona crowdfunding rules, and we're actually soliciting people to come with us. This is a really good time to be in this industry, early but not too early.
So it's in its infancy. How do people get a hold of you to help you with your
CEO at GoE3.com.
GoE3.com. Okay.
CEO at GoE3.com.
Okay. Kyle, why don't you tee up our last song here?
Whiskey River, take my mind. Don't let a memory torture me. Whiskey River, don't run dry. You're all I got, take care of me. Whiskey River, take my mind. Don't let a memory torture me. Whiskey River, don't run dry. You're all I got, take care of me. I'm drowning in a whiskey river, bathing my memory mind in the wetness of its soul. Feeling the amber current flowing from my mind, and warm and empty heart you left so cold. Whiskey River, take my mind. Don't let a memory torture me. Whiskey River, don't run dry. River. Bathe in my memory of mine in the wetness of its soul. Healing the amber current flowing from my mind. And warm and empty heart you left so cold. Whiskey River, take my mind. Don't let memories haunt me. Whiskey River, don't run dry. You're all I got, take care of me. Whiskey River, take my mind. Don't let the memories torture me. Whiskey River, don't run dry. You're all I got, take care of me.
Okay, we're back. We're pretty much at the end of the show here, and it's been one hell of a show. I want to thank you, Trummel, for coming on.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Trammell. You're awesome. We all will be at your Earth event April 22nd in Dallas.
That's right.
Texas and Arizona shall meet.
Yes.
The real deal will be there. And I want to thank my producer, Kyle. You've been absolutely wonderful, as always. And I want to thank everybody that's here in the studio. I'm going to let you sign off and say goodbye. Bruce, start it out.
Hey, thanks again for having me, Chief. This has been a great experience being on The Real Deal, and I hope everything continues to grow and expand. I'm just glad to have been here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Chief.
Yes, sir.
You're awesome. You know, this is my second time on The Real Deal.
That's right.
I got to tell you, this is just fantastic. And the number of listeners you have is amazing. So,
I know.
I look forward to watching this program grow and maybe coming back again, right?
Oh, you're welcome anytime.
Oh, and I gotta,
You're a regular.
Yeah, and I got to have my daughter, Danny, and my son, James, on the show.
Absolutely.
Danny and James are on.
Bring them in. We love children. And thank you, Kinga, for setting everything up here.
Chief, thank you so much. You are the real deal. You have literally saved my life as I've been going through a hard time. And you're my neighbor. You come and get me. And you've brought so much good to the world. You're saving the planet with your product Humate and saving the names. And I'm just really lucky to be involved in the show and with Kyle Pratt, who's friends with my son. And I'm very thrilled and lucky that Trammell came on the show, and here he is.
And we're all going to go see the Arizona sunset tonight.
That's right. And I want to say thank you to Sexy Chef Wendy and for coming in here, and we're going to be doing a show in Beverly Hills with her. And
Wendy, I can't wait.
I want you to tell everybody
Thank you.
How they can get this wonderful hot sauce and how they contact you and all that stuff.
Well, thank you so much as well for having me on the show. You are awesome. I had the pleasure of meeting you last night.
Right.
Wendy, she's as beautiful as like one of the Victoria's Secrets models, and
she definitely
and
is.
she's a heart of gold. She's she looks like an angel.
Nice
Thank
lady.
you. I love you guys.
Love you.
Love you so much. My hot sauce, you could go to my website, sexychefwendy.com. If you want to shoot me an email, ask me any questions, hit Ask Wendy. I'll respond to you.
For you listeners out there, she seriously looks like a bombshell, like prettier than anybody on a James Bond movie.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. And the hot sauce is, if you're an Amazon Prime member, you can go on today and get yourself a couple of bottles of hot sauce.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
You were hot. We want your hot sauce.
And
well, some do like it hot, Kinga. I think you do.
I like it hot.
I definitely like it hot.
And you're hot.
I definitely like it hot.
We're going to have fun on our show. I'm going to get the chief on my kitchen table. And
That's it.
We're going to taste some good food together, aren't we?
Well,
Maybe we'll do some Native American dish.
Oh,
right?
yeah. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be
I'm
cool.
excited. I've never seen him raunchy.
And we'll
like
talk
this.
about some minerals and growing good vegetables.
Can you turn the AC down a little bit, Kyle? It's getting hot in here.
And then I want to thank Maggie for coming on. She's one of our famous jewelers from Hong Kong, and you can find her at scottsdaljewelry.com, and she's going to be big in Kansas City because Jessica's taking her jewelry into Kansas City.
So Jessica Thomas, we love you. I know you're just on a plane, and I'm going to get you with Trammell, and we're going to save this planet. Thank you, Jessica. Mwah. Love you.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I think, Kyle, we had one hell of a run. We do it big. Not as big as Texas, but we do it pretty big for Arizona. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to hear my closing here. This is very important, Trummel. This is what makes the show what it is today. I want to tell all these name changers and everybody that supports the real deal, I want you to know beyond a reasonable doubt why I'm here. Kyle, tell them why I'm here.
To kick ass and save names, Ambassador.
You damn right.
Thank you for listening to The Real Deal. Tune in to The Real Deal with the Ambassador and special guest hosts every Wednesday at 5 p.m. and on demand 24/7 right here on Star Worldwide Networks.